Hey, all. Welcome back to the Awesome Life podcast. I'm Karen Stultz, your host today. And of course, my awesome guest. I have to tell you guys, this fellow has changed my world. And since this podcast is for women in transition who are looking for that change, who may not know where to look, know where that inspiration is, that's what my guests do. They bring the inspiration and the wisdom so that we can feel awesome in our lives and the way to live. Isn't it the way we want to live after all? And I want to ask you guys, what would it be like to reclaim our lost inspiration? Wouldn't that be fantastic to be free of disillusionment, despair? And what could we do to find this inner peace, this inner inspiration? Well, I've met just the guy. He is wonderful. His name is Lance Secretan, and he is a spiritual thought leader. He is the world's top authority on inspirational leadership. He's a trailblazing teacher, advisor, and expert on corporate culture. But with that said, he inspires individuals, and it is all about the individual person. I will share with you in a minute how I met Lance and what he has done for my life. And mind you, I don't have a big company, but he has inspired me with his wisdom and his wonderfulness. He has written 24 books, and his newest one I'm really excited about is Reawakening the Human Spirit. So Lance, welcome to the Awesome Life podcast, and thank you so much for being my guest today.
Well, thank you for inviting me, Karen. It's great to be here.
Oh, you are amazing. It's interesting. When we first met, I thought you were full of hooey. I have to tell you.
Yeah.
You're absolutely. I was not into recognizing the energy in the world. I was not recognizing the power that we as individuals have. And so you said a few things, and I thought, yeah, right.
Yeah.
And then you got up on stage, and that was way back in what's it, 2001, I think, or 2002.
I don't know.
Written a book, Inspire. You were promoting the book Inspire. One of your early of your.
Ooh, that's 94, 95, somewhere around there.
Oh, wow. It's been a while.
Yeah.
Anyway,
Yeah.
I saw this gentleman come up on stage and talk about inspiring and changing my life. I knew that I had to work with him, and I was in life coaching school, and he was one of the instructors there, and I was so thrilled to be able to work with him there, and then help promote another book, One, The Art of Conscious Living. And now to be able to promote your newest book, which is coming out right away, of Reawakening the Human Spirit. But before we go to all of that, Lance, how did you get into this world of inspiration and inspiring people around the world to be their best selves?
Well, first of all, thank you. Thank you for your kind comments. I don't deserve them, but I'm grateful. Thank you. As you may know, I ran and helped to build a very successful company, a Fortune 100 company. And I wrote some books after that about our experience, and it was all about leadership. And I was teaching leadership. And then long story short, because it is a long story, it would be 30 or 40 years before I figured this out. But leadership is actually failing us. And as you can see, it's broken everywhere. It doesn't really matter where you look, whether it's the police, Roman Catholic Church, politics, Washington, Doesn't matter. It's broken. Corporate America, it's a mess. And yet we spend $170 billion a year on leadership development. We've got gurus and consultants and books and what have you everywhere. And we're just not making any progress. What's the issue? The issue is that we've been motivating with fear. That's COVID, for example. There's been a fear-based system of coercion and manipulation. Whether it's right or not, I'm not making that point. I'm just saying the way we is still that way. So what I learned about this is that the great leaders, and in fact, great people, not just leaders, great parents, friends, they inspire. If you go to a company and say, what's happening in this company that's making it so successful? It's not leadership, and it's not motivation either. It's inspiration. These people are inspired. Why are they inspired? What's going on there? And so the whole issue for me became, we've just missed the boat altogether. We've been working for years with the wrong ideas. And so here we are at a place where we have a chance to change that.
I love that. And one of the things that stood out for me then and now, and I've always remembered, is your definition of motivation versus inspiration. Because in this world today, people will say, well, I'm motivated, or I bought this book on motivation. And all I can think about is Lance Secretan and what his definition is. So would you share that?
Yes. Well, in a nutshell, it's like this. Motivation is lighting a fire under someone, and inspiration is lighting a fire within someone. Motivation is something we do to people. You don't do inspiration to anyone. People are inspired, but they have to be in an environment and with other people that they find inspiring. It's very hard to be inspired, for example, when you're depressed. Very hard to be inspired when there's ugly people messing with you and depressing you. So you have to choose your people that are surrounding carefully. That means your work team, but also your family, and change them. And I tell you a little story. I love this story because it's from my consulting work that I used to. I work with you may have read this in the book, because I tell the story in the book. It's the Mother Teresa theory. So this chemical company makes agricultural chemicals. They put the chemicals on the ground, and the farmers are very grateful because their seeds sprout or grow and get healthy and so on. They have a good crop. But sometimes it doesn't work, especially in the spring. You get too much sun, too cold, too much rain, whatever, it'll mess up the whole application of the chemistry. And then the farmer starts yelling at the company. And so every year there's going to be a bunch of farmers. They're going to get mad and they're going to call the company. And so the company puts together a little miniature sales training program, how to deal with angry farmers. And they run this course every spring because it happens every year. So I'm a new consultant. I'm showing up. I think this is a strange thing. I've never seen anything like this before. Let's try an idea here. Let's suppose we hire Mother Teresa. We put her on our payroll. We give her a Ford F-150 truck. We give her a pair of big black boots, and we have her making calls on angry farmers. So the phone rings. This one's for you, Mother Teresa. So she gets big boots on, gets into the F-150, heads off down the road. She parks the car by the field, gets out of the truck, starts walking across the field. The farmer's walking towards her. So here's the question. As they close the gap, farmer sees this is Mother Teresa. I'm not going to scream abuse at Mother Teresa. So I have to change my behavior. So what changed? We're the only one. He didn't change. He had to change because we changed.
Yeah.
The reality of this is that whenever we are inspiring, we will get other people to be inspiring. And whenever we are pissy with people, we'll get the same back. It's called karma.
Growing up, I always felt like the golden rule. People don't hear about the golden rule too much anymore, I don't think. But the golden rule said, treat others as you would like to be treated.
Yes.
And for me, I kind of moved that around a little bit too and said, okay, so if they are being pissy with me, is that the way they want to be treated?
Mm-hmm.
What do you think? Thoughts about that?
Yes. Well, you know, the platinum rule is treat other people the way they want to be treated. You know, so there's an elevation here. You could treat people the way you would want to be treated, because you can choose, right, between.
Yeah,
The way I would say this is, let's make other people feel bigger, not smaller.
agreed. Agreed. I like that. And there are tools that you use. You are a masterful leader and teacher, and you have turned some major companies around, both financially and inspirationally. And that is, really a reawakening the human spirit, because we have lost that along the
Yes,
way.
yes,
And I can see it in myself. People will say, well, Karen, you're Pollyanna. You're always looking at the bright side. And I'm saying, I don't think so, but I am actually looking at the possibilities thereof. I just don't like stress. I don't enjoy feeling miserable. I don't enjoy
right,
that. So what can I do
right,
instead? And
right.
your teachings actually go that step further in companies and individuals like myself to go further. So would you share your principles?
Well, one of them, there's lots we've developed over the years, and in the book we talk really about the spark, the flame, and the torch. And the general idea there is that we have to first of all fill up our own wells to be inspiring. We can't inspire if we're feeling empty. So you can do it for a while. We all have to. And there are days when we don't feel good, but we still are inspiring. And we can do it for short periods. We're built for that. But we're not built to do it for a long time. So we have to fill up our own tank. So there's ways we do that. For instance, one of them is to have a dream. Another is to remove violent language from our vocabulary. You know, we keep saying things like blowing each other up and destroying the competition and blowing my mind and so on. Well, the book goes into some detail about the biochemistry of doing that. That's actually making us sick. And we want to try and avoid that because it makes us ill, literally. We have to go to the doctor to fix the problems that that sort of thing creates. So the opposite is also true. We use language that inspires and lifts people up as opposed to pulling them down by using war metaphors and so on. That's another piece. And then finally, and principally, we have something we call the why be do, which is why are you here, how are you going to be while you're here, and what are you going to do with your life? And those three questions are very big because they basically determine everything else in our lives. So those three things, if we get them right, we get excited, we get passion, we get inspiration. Now we can inspire other people. And when we inspire other people, we do it this way. We, some years ago, we did some research to find out what people don't like about other people. And they say, we don't like cowards. We don't like phony people. We don't like people who are selfish. We don't like people who lie. We don't like people who use idiots, incompetent people. It was okay. That's pretty straightforward. Why don't we do the opposite? The opposite is courage, authenticity, service, truthfulness, love, and effectiveness. That spells castle. Those are called the castle principles. Live the castle principles, you will be an inspiring person. We love courageous people. We love authentic people who serve others. We love people who tell the truth. We love people who are loving and have a loving personality. And we love people who are competent and effective.
So true.
So that's the castle principle. So that's part of it. There's more, but it's getting to a place where we're inspired. And you've got to remember, Karen, that I'm sure it's true for everybody you know, and it's true for everybody I know. We've got climate change. We've got polarization. We've got political catastrophes on our hands. We've got Ukraine. We've got politics that is corrupt and business the same. We have a mess. We have inflation. We have got all kinds of stuff on our hands right now. And people are in a funk. And the world is not going to change that much. So we need to get over it. We need to get through it. We need to deal with it. Otherwise, we're just going to be depressed and taking pills. And that's not a good idea. So let's get through this and be inspired. And we can be inspiring in any situation. It doesn't matter where we are.
And that inspiration actually creates a ripple effect.
Of course.
Because
of
if
course.
you can inspire yourself, as your analogy of or metaphor of Mother Teresa out there,
Yeah.
she inspired somebody to
Right.
behave differently.
Absolutely.
Just because she inspired herself.
Yes. And I often use the example. I mean, by the way, it's all catching. It all spreads. Doesn't matter. Being miserable spreads too.
Yeah. Oh,
You know,
yeah.
if I'm depressed around you, you're going to feel in a funk as well. And if I'm upbeat around you, you're going to feel better about it. I mean, that's the way it works. Like I often say to people, if the Dalai Lama walked into the room we're in, sat down in a corner, said nothing for 15 minutes, just sat there and got up and left, we'd be inspired. He didn't even say anything, just because of who he is and what he stands for.
And the energy that he has inside of him that is spreading out to the people around.
And those are the kinds of people we can be.
Yeah. We need to find those people and surround ourselves with those people so that the collective can actually create that ripple effect. I heard somewhere that our energy affected 30 feet around us at any one time. And that, as you said, if you're feeling down, that's not helpful to the people around you.
Right, exactly.
So I often have to tell my husband, darling, I'm in a miserable, rotten, no good, nasty mood, and this isn't fair to you. So I'm going upstairs to my office and closing the door and doing whatever I need to do to release
good for
this.
you. Yeah, that's called a bad hair day in my office. Yeah.
You don't have to worry about that too much, do you, Lance?
No, but they tell me, I know Lance is having a bad hair day today. So yeah, so we all have those. Yeah, but it's, the thing about it too that we've done so much of over the years is we've approached business as a completely alien world. Give you an example. I can walk out of my home onto a street and go up to a complete stranger and tell them I love them. No problem. I mean, they might think I'm a bit weird, but no problem. I can't do that at work. I get in all kinds of trouble. If I say to somebody at work, I love you, human resources will be all over me in a heartbeat. Why is that?
Interesting.
Why? We don't say we love each other at work, but we do outside. What is this? We've created from 5 p.m. until 9 p.m. I love you, I'm tender, I'm passionate and intimate. Oh, I'm going to work now at 9 to 5. I'm going to be threatening and violent and competitive, dominant, so on. What is this? This is ridiculous. So we're trying to inspire people who aren't even real people. They're senior vice presidents. And we say, we need to talk to the senior leaders, or we need to talk to the SVPs, or we need to talk to the marketing people, as if they were something other than human beings. We've been doing this for 100 years.
Yeah. And now there are a lot of AIs now, or whatever, artificial intelligence. So you don't know who you're talking to.
Right. But now I think what's happening, you'll see the power shift between employers and employees has become noticeable now. So that the power has been in the hands of employers for many years. It's now in the hands of employees. So as a result, employees are saying, I need some different things than I've been getting. And most of those are to do with well-being. It's about meaning, purpose, fulfillment, health days, mental health, fitness days, and support for those areas, gender inclusion, all kinds of those sorts of things. Not about but it's not the main factor. There's other factors that come before that. So we're beginning to understand this now. But boy, it's taken us a long time.
Yeah, and sometimes it feels like, dang it, we've gone back in time. I will remember always one of the things that I knew, but I didn't really express too much, and that you taught me when I first met you, giving that keynote speech. And that was definitions matter. So when you mentioned, I love you all, and I thought, bull hockey, you don't even know me. What are you talking about? And then you gave me your definition of love. And I thought, that makes sense. Now I can freely say, I love you. And without any clenching or negativity of any kind, So.
Right. Yeah, we've got this Victorian hang up about the word love, and we need to get past it because we have one word only in our language. There are 92 words for love in Sanskrit, 6 in Greek, and so on. So we're very stunted. We need to get through this to the point where we can feel comfortable that way. I tell you, there's nothing in life more inspiring than to be told by someone that they love you.
Yeah. And would you share your definition of what that means?
Yes, when my heart touches your heart and makes us both larger as a result.
Love that. And that also taught me what namaste meant. I never knew at that point in time,
which is also the same thing, right? The sacredness in me sees the sacredness in you. And when we are both in that place, we are one.
I love that.
Yeah. And it's a salutation. So it's not namaste, it's I honor the divinity in you.
And we are all divine. We all have our amazingness, and we just seem to have lost it along the way. It is important to recognize that everybody has their gift, their flame, their spark.
Yes.
And tell me more about that. That's part of what you have in your book in Reawakening the Human Spirit.
Yes. Well, it is about two. And I think and I haven't described this very fully in the book, but I think we don't understand the difference between religion and spirituality. And I think, we've had a decline in spirituality and a rise in religion. So it's almost an oxymoron. And we've had a rise in religion at the state level, at the political level, and a decline of it within the corporate level. So, it's very, you can be one thing in one part of your life, but you have to be a different thing in another part. That's unnatural. And, the latest post I've just made on LinkedIn is really about the fact that work is a new word. And, it's very ironic. We invented the word work in the 1600s, early 1600s. And so we've been using the word work for 500 years maybe. We didn't go anywhere to work before that because there wasn't anywhere to go. We didn't have factories, we didn't have offices, we didn't have skyscrapers, none of that existed. If you were a blacksmith, the blacksmithing was done in the back of your house. So you didn't go anywhere. Now, for the last 500 years, we've been going places, now look what's happening. We're going back home again. 500 years. We've been doing this for 500 years and it's all over. We're going right back to where we were 500 years ago. We're going to be working from home again, just like we used to. This is why it's our balance point. That's the place where we're going home. We want to go home. This is where we've always wanted to be. We didn't want to go to a skyscraper. We didn't want to get into fancy clothes and get in a car and burn up gas and destroy the planet. We didn't want to do that. Management still wants us to do that, but we don't want to do that.
It absolutely is a change in perspective, for sure. And you also inspired me. You were talking about words and how the words impact you and the war words. And I have to tell you, my clients get really teed off with me when I start telling them about the war words.
I know.
but my entire life, it was, hey, I'm having a blast. This is great. And you taught me about the war words, and going back to the awesome, the A in awesome stands for awareness and allowing. So I said, all right, let me notice my body. as you were mentioning earlier, it is detrimental to our body, using the war words. And I thought,
Right.
all right, I don't know that I go along with it, but I'm willing to be open to the possibility. And so I heard it, and I heard myself, and all of a sudden I could really tune in. And when I said that was a blast, I felt a jump. And it was not a very nice jump.
Yeah.
It was like an electrocution almost. And
Right.
it was fascinating.
Let's try this experiment.
Oh, okay.
Let's try an experiment to confirm that. So I'll experiment with you. Everybody's listening. I invite everybody to simply be aware of your energy, the frequency inside your body right now. And I'm going to say 2 sentences and I want you to know, how do you feel after each one? So the first sentence would be, Karen, I would kill for your hair.
Yeah, not very good.
And then I could say, I love your hair.
I'd be very grateful for that compliment.
Different, isn't it? Just
Yeah.
one word, just one word. And I don't mean anything bad by saying I would kill for your hair.
No, no.
We all say that. You know that there's no malintent. But the word is like a cruise missile. It's not you controlling it. It's got its own mind. That word is going to trip biochemistry in your body. Cortisol, adrenaline. These are the kinds of chemistries that adrenaline gets fired up inside your body. You don't need that.
Mm.
Use that in an emergency, but it's not necessary the rest of the time. But if I say I love your hair, oxytocin, serotonin, dopamine, these are the cannabinoids. These are the biochemicals that happen. A different class of chemistry.
Mm-hmm.
I am literally manipulating the biochemistry in your body when I communicate with you.
Fascinating. So it really does come down to communication, doesn't it?
Yes, and energy, the energy between us. I mean, you could look at me and say, I don't like the look of this guy. You know, I don't want to meet him in a dark alley. And I haven't said anything yet. But you could just
and that is it. That is that
Yeah.
I read the book Inspire. I saw it. I bought it before I knew that you had even written it. I bought your book because of Inspire.
Mm.
And yet
Mm.
and then I saw you, and come on over to the YouTube channel. You'll see this handsome fellow who is young, and he knows the magic secret to stay young and handsome. But indeed, I thought, yeah, I don't know that I want to run into him in a dark alley.
Right. That's right. Yeah.
But tell us your secret about being young.
Well, I was saying this to you earlier. I think that I spend my life working with people, individuals, coaching and mentoring and advising, but and teaching, and very little consulting these days because I'm really shifting my emphasis to teaching particularly. But what I find is that most of the people I'm working with have issues of various sorts, like we all do, and they get resolved, and they're very happy with that. And their energy is very positive, and that is very rewarding for me. So the work I do has wonderful impact on people, and that has wonderful impact on me. It's very selfish. And so this is how I stay young, because I'm engaged and I'm active. People are saying to me, how long are you going to work? I'm not going to stop working. Why would I do that? I'll die if I stop working. I want to live. I want to be full. So yeah, I don't want to do that. It's not going to happen.
You're out there enjoying the wilderness, so to speak, and kayaking and the world as it and taking it all in.
On a good day, that's what I'm doing.
That it is so wonderful. And yeah, I found myself, I have to say, I found myself being really upset with people who did not get the fact that age is simply a number. It has nothing to do with us.
Right. Right.
And
It is a choice.
it
It is
is.
a choice. So we choose,
Mhm.
you know, our lifestyle. I mean, obviously, you've got to do things like exercise and nutrition and all that, of which there's a lot of things to consider. But that aside, it's also very important. And I'll share, I can't remember it right now, but the former Prime Minister of New Zealand made a very interesting quote the other day. She was saying that the world is really focused on coercion and manipulation and fear. But the only change we can make in the world is when we change inside.
Mhm.
And the human spirit's about. We can't change the outside, but we can change ourselves. And by doing so, we will change the outside.
Absolutely. I see it every day in my clients. You know, almost every day I will have somebody say, I was worried about speaking to this person. And they acknowledged exactly what I wanted them to acknowledge, even though they never have in their entire lives. And I've been wanting it for my entire life.
Wow.
You changed inside.
Wow.
You changed. You had
Right.
that conversation in a way that was non-threatening. And that's where inspiration comes from, I think.
Right. Right. Exactly.
Yeah.
Loving the fifth or fourth castle principle.
Loving. I love it. I love it. So tell us a little bit about your book, and where people can get it. And I am honored that I have a copy of it, and or a pre-copy of it, a proof, and
Yes.
it is amazing. It is absolutely amazing, as all of your work is. But tell us more about this one. How is this one moving
Well,
us even more forward?
well, I think that it's taking 50 years of writing and research and teaching and what have you to try and pull that into this work, but also to adapt it so that we're actually talking with human beings, not functions. I mean, the senior vice president that shows up to work is a father, is a husband, is a parent, is a son. He suffers, he has pain, he bleeds. You know, these are the things that we actually need to know about people. Yes, of course, they have functions and they do jobs and all that, but that's not the only thing. And increasingly, we need to pay attention to the wellness of people. And as you were saying, their energy. Is their energy up or down? We should even measure that, you know, in an ideal place. So this book is really all about how can you personally change inside so that the world doesn't feel as heavy as it did before you read the book. And so that from then on, you can be inspiring for other people too.
Create that ripple effect. So
Yeah.
as I read from you, you have the flame that lights the fire. What's the rest of that? No, it's a spark.
Yeah.
The
So
spark that creates the flame.
yes,
Mhm.
right. Then the flame lights the torch. The torch is how we inspire the world. So the spark is how we fill up our own well. The flame is how we inspire other people. And the torch is how we then take that to the rest of the world. How do we make the world a better place?
And isn't that what we all want, guys? This is what we want, a better world for us and for the people around us and for the world around us. And it takes all of us working together to create that inspiration. But first, it comes from inside you.
Right. And it also comes from giving, serving.
Mm.
And so service is one of the castle principles. You know, I open the book up with a story about what happens if you feel depressed. and lonely and sad, as so many people do right now, what do? You drink, you do drugs, you binge watch TV, what do you do? And my suggestion in the early part of the book is go paint your friend's bedroom. Give a gift. Because you will love the gratitude. You will love the experience they have of you being their friend, giving them a gift and how grateful they are. And you will feel better.
Indeedy,
We
indeed.
always feel better when we lift up other people. So if we feel bad, stop working on yourself that way. And, oh, I'm going to have a drink now because I feel bad. I'm going to give something to someone else. Then I'll feel better.
It does. It always makes you feel better, doesn't it?
Right.
And
because they have to acknowledge the gift. They have to say, thank you. You're so generous. Thank you for coming over and painting my bedroom. That's really wonderful. I would have taken me twice as long on my own. I'm really so grateful. Now, how can you feel depressed when you hear all that?
that's quite true, as long as they want it.
Of course, of course, of course.
But I noticed too, what's important for me is to be able to give something from my heart to someone with nothing but the love that I want to share. Right. And that's what a good teacher does, I think, is give it because you want to share it. It does not mean that that person has to acknowledge it even. It would be nice if they did, but that is not the reason for giving it.
Right, right.
Giving it is to satisfy you personally in whatever way. And ideally, they would acknowledge it, and then you can both feel great.
Right. But you would even feel great if they didn't acknowledge it, because you know you've done a good thing.
Yeah.
And you've also got out of your own way. Yeah. The other thing I think that's important, and come back to the earlier things we were talking about in the spark, I talk about a dream a lot. And you can't be depressed if you have a dream and you're moving towards it. So it's and what's happened for most of us is we've lost our dream. I think America's lost its dream too. And I think it's not that difficult. There's a white paper on my website about how we could create dreams for country. I'm actually working with a country right now, which I think it may be the first country in the world to create a dream for the country. And, that's a pretty exciting thing. I want to go and live in a country that's inspiring and upbeat and has that dream. And, so those are the things we can do on a big scale. And it's pretty exciting. The other thing that's in the spark is this why we do I mentioned earlier. And let's just go a little deeper into that. It's amazing to me that most people do not know the answer to that question. Why are you here? They'll tell the answer like, oh, I'm here to raise my kids, be a good parent and spouse, and have a good career, retire, and die. Well, okay, but why are you here? That doesn't answer the question. Why are you here? What's the higher purpose? And the way I like to frame this, and religion is not a part of this book at all, but I use the metaphor of you're in heaven, you're into the boardroom. I've got this assignment. I've been working on it for a long time. It's called Earth, and it's not finished, and it's not right yet. I need you to go there and fix it. You go. God says, I'm going to give you 100 years. You got all the help you need. Come see me when you're done. 100 years later, you come back to heaven. How'd you do? Well, what's your answer? I was a good parent, and I raised my kids, and I had a good career, and I retired, and I died. I think God's going to say, yeah, I had. Anything else? What else do you do? Is that it? What's the answer? What did you do? How did you make this world a better place? How did you make it better? What was the impact? Because you showed up. How did it get better? What's your answer? Now, when you know that answer, Gandhi, Mother Teresa, Nelson Mandela, all knew that. Martin Luther King, they knew what their dream was. In fact, Martin Luther King said the word dream 8 times when he made his famous speech. I have a dream. It's amazingly inspiring to get up every morning and saying, I have a dream and I'm making progress towards that dream. It's so exciting. You can't be depressed when you do that. And when it comes to understanding why you're here, what is the point of your existence? Why are you here? And then everything else is measured against that, Karen.
Mm.
So is this helping me with my destiny? Or is this pulling me away?
And that makes it so easy, really,
Right.
to when you know what your dream is, what your purpose is.
Yes. Yeah.
And for me, I tell people purpose is not hard. Just recognize what is your purpose here? You were put here to be happy or joyful inside, happy outside, prosperous and free.
Mm-hmm.
And it's just a question of what are we doing each day to keep us moving forward in those directions of creating freedom for ourselves, enjoying
Right.
who we are inside and out, and being
Right.
prosperous in whatever way that might be for you.
Right. Right. And you know, there are 3 parts. So the why we do, why you're here, but how you're going to be is important too.
Mm-hmm.
And there, you know, we're talking about what are your values? How do you want people to know you? If somebody says to me, well, describe Karen to me, what would you like me to say? Karen is beautiful, talented, inspiring, uplifting, high integrity. I mean, what are the words you'd like me to say? You don't want me to say ugly, miserable, argumentative, disappointing. You want me to say those things, so don't do any of that. And then, once you know what it is, live it.
Live
So
it.
one of the little side things I'll mention to you, there's an app on your mobile phone, which you can get from Apple Store or the Google Play Store. And it's called Spirit at Work, Spirit with a little round A, work, Spirit at Work cards. And what you will find in there is there's 77 cards, and they it's kind of cool. And then you tap the card and it'll spin around and there's a meaning for the word and chapter and the verse and I read the poems if you want to hear them that way. And there's several videos. And there's also an interesting thing. The Castle Principles is a video for every one of those on the app, downloadable. There's a to-do list, so you can list all your do. But what I was getting to is there's a to-be list. And the to-be list, you shake your phone and you pull a card. Let's say it's integrity. That's your to-be list today. And then you'll try and delete it and it won't let you.
You have to be in integrity.
The message says, you pick this card, you have to live it today. Tomorrow you'll get a chance to pick a new one, but you can't undo it now.
I love it. And I do use that. I have to admit, I don't do it every day, but I really, really do appreciate having that option available. And it is wonderful. He also has the physical. Do you still have the physical
Yes, sure.
Spirit at Work cards and book, which is magnificent? That's another thing I bought when I bought Inspire. I said, yeah, I'm all about Spirit at Work. So, and the inspiration that comes with it. So guys, do see this wonderful man who is so inspiring and is changing the world. He has actually been in the top 30 leadership teachers. Is that what was the award that you just got? You were in the top.
So yeah, that's the Global Gurus. It's
Global
top
Gurus.
leadership
That was
experts in
what
the
I
world.
was. Yeah. And that is That says a lot, because it isn't the first time and it won't be the last. So where can people get your book, any of your books, and especially your newest one?
Well, of course, yeah, they'll find it on Indigo, Kobo, Amazon, and Kindle, of course, and then in bookstores and on our website. So reawakeningthehumanspirit.com.
Fantastic. Fantastic. Reawakeningthehumanspirit.com. Very simple, easy to find. I love it. I love it. And can people get it today, right now?
No, they can get the digital version now, and there's a reading group guide on our web at that location that I just gave you, URL. But the book will be available, I would say, early to mid-April, physically.
Terrific. So people can pre-order it. Is that?
Oh yeah, they can pre-order it now, and lots of pre-orders are coming. In fact, we've increased the print run 3 times already. So
Oh my.
before we first printing. So let's see how it goes. I have a nasty feeling we may sell out right from day one, but that's okay.
Well, that's
okay.
exciting to be able to sell out on day one. That just means more printing coming. And tell you, it is worth putting in your pre-order, everyone, because it is inspiration, and that is what this world needs more of. Lance has continued to inspire me for the last 20 years. And I just, you might not have heard that in my voice. I just love this guy. I know I've been happily married for 52 years, but I just love this man.
Well, I love you too, Karen. Thank you so much. You're very generous. Thank you.
Thank you. And until next time, be awesome, guys.
Thank you. Been wonderful.